are discussing a sector which is a cross and a transdisciplinary sector, bioeconomy, different processing sectors and different producing sectors. And I think the most important is that those countries are discussing and talking to each other in one voice. We have to have a one voice message to Europe, to other European countries and also to the Commission, that all these countries can have a common future, they can build up their common future, they can build up common policies, and they have to have a common approach for their needs, and those needs will be tackled via the research and innovation.
Missing overarching strategies for bioeconomy. Yes, for sure, there are biomass availability, but what the governance part is missing, as it was mentioned also in the report by DG RTD on the regional aspects. Yes, there are suppliers, but what they are missing is the governance. We are often missing the research-based policy making. Yes, here in Eastern Europe, in some of the countries, the policy decisions are, most of the cases, immediate policy needs, immediate questions. And if I'm taking the example of DG Agri, that if you invest in research and you would like to go somewhere in 20 years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, then you have to base your policies on research and innovation capacities, and also your policies, it has to be based on research. Yes, I was asked in the break about why, how is the energy policy, and actually in Eastern Europe we have several refineries which are producing biodiesel, and how we do this, why we are doing, and what are the perspectives. And I was immediately responding, yes, in Eastern Europe there are a lot of investments, but purely on market-based or sometimes on technology-based, and that would mean that it's profitable in itself, but who is putting the question whether it's sustainable or not? Whether the whole overarching concept of bioeconomy, sustainable bioeconomy, from the producing of agriculture, forestry, fisheries and aquaculture, freshwater, and the food feed, material use and chemical, which is the chemical sector, and the energy sector, how this matrix is coming together. And here we miss the governance part. We need the research and the innovation-based transdisciplinary approaches. And yes, the macroeconomic approach is missing, because the sustainability, you cannot have it just in Hungary, or you cannot have sustainability just in some other country. And then I would really mention here the lack of societal participation in addressing these challenges, as I was mentioning in my example. The BioEast initiative. Here my role is also to a little bit show to you what happened up until now and what will happen after. There was a national movement in Hungary where 2 years ago they started to build up, and they understand that agriculture is embedded in a bigger context. Agriculture research is embedded in a bigger context. The context is that agriculture, forestry, fisheries and aquaculture, and in a vertical level, the processing, food feed, the chemical sector and the energy sector, they are coming together. And in this context, the bioeconomy context, we need to find our ways for the agriculture. And from that point of view angle, it was slowly build up the national approach. For sure, a lot of things need to be done. In the same time, it was started in Poland, even earlier, a few years earlier, it was started another approach, which is not national, but more in a micro-regional level, to build up a micro-regional aspects of the bioeconomy. And all these movements were coming together, so to say, at the Bratislava event last year, when basically the role of the regions was addressed, and it went to the council meeting, Agri-Council and the Competitiveness Council meeting, the outcome of all these slowly building up blocks. And there was discussed before the before the council meeting and in between. First time was coming together the Visegrad 4 countries plus 3 countries. to have a declaration, a political declaration, and an annex behind. And that's what I see a real political message for the Commission and for the EU, other EU states, that yes, we want to work together. This was always the case, that there were political messages, but most often the content part was missing. What I see here, we were working in the past 1.5 years based on the national initiatives on the content. And the V4+3 annex, declaration and annex, really contains the basis of the content which should be tackled in the future. And this is what needs to be worked out, and that's why you are sitting here today, to work further on that annex, to work to improve the thematics, to improve the content of this initiative. And then it will be discussed in the future at the political level again in the different countries, and then it will be sent out for the Commission, for the other member states, because it's really, it should be built up a strategic research agenda, and behind the strategic research agenda should be built up an action plan, and then to involve the different stakeholders. What I'm saying, it's important to have one voice. We cannot afford, or the Central and Eastern European countries cannot afford to have different approaches. So we need to have one single name, one single approach, and to embed under one umbrella all the different aspects of the different countries. What it has to be done in the future, not just at the different country level, but in general. National level, the different ministries in the different countries need to start to talk about those issues, because it's horizontal. This is really the security question in the countries, at that the different agri, forestry, industry, and the different ministries at the national level, they start to discuss and build up strategy. Macro-regional level, there is coming in the sustainability question, because at the country level you cannot work out a sustainable way, but more on a macro-regional level. Then the European level, I really see that we have to show also the Western Europeans and the other EU countries that here it's not just about asking more money for Eastern Europe and that's all. No, we need to get in partnership with them. There are more, maybe some knowledge. Here in Eastern Europe we have some more funds for infrastructure. Let's bring together and let's bring the knowledge from West to East, and to build up the partnerships. And the EU 13 and the Commission, I would really see here again more a partnership. We have to build up our connections with DG RTD, because they have their own vision for the future. Agri, DG Regio. I was not mentioning, I will mention here basically my last slide, what I was meaning by all those. Immediate actions. What we have to do is, using the research and innovation funds from the last work program, we have to use it for our purpose, for our future. If we are able to build up collaborative support actions which can help to start to build up strategies, if we can think on ERANET, where the different Central and Eastern European countries, together with the Western European countries, can build up an ERANET on Eastern European questions, needs, specific Eastern and Central European needs, to build up an ERANET call. I see also thematics which it's much more in interest for DG Agri, some topics, really key small research topic, as it was mentioned here, maybe on the fruit trees issues, which we have a particular aspects in the Central and Eastern Europe, we have to present to them. So in this case, what I was mentioning, there is also the widening tool. Usually in the Commission, the widening is just used as a teaming on error sharing, twinning, cost, or policy support action. But what is the content of this? And that's why the widening tool was not used up until now perfectly for the Eastern Europeans. The Commission was saying, yes, here is your money, you can use it for you, but the content was missing. What I see here, really we can have an approach for the widening funds by introducing in the bioeconomy. For the bioeconomy thematics, we will use then teaming, era share, cost or policy actions. This, I think, it would be a good approach. On a longer term, for sure, it was mentioned by DG Agri. I really see that if we start to build up our strategies, then we have to build up a policy level. We have to, the EU 13 countries should involve themselves in the discussion of the next research and the innovation research program, the next Horizon 2020, the next 7 years, how we'll look for, how we look like, and the next CAP and the food policy. You saw the map of biomass. We know that there is a capacity in Eastern Europe. Do we have a say how we look like the next CAP in the context of sustainability? We really need to involve ourselves and the country at the political level to building up the new policies. The next structure in the investment fund, here I would say more, for example, the Danube strategy. Today, the Danube strategy is almost without content. We can build up some parts of the Danube strategy, thinking over what can be brought in and bringing together the research money and the structural funds money. Here are the connections where we can have the content part, and there I see that the bioeconomy, it's a good possibility to bring up, because how you bring up this, and I was writing here the bioeconomy clusters. In some of the countries there really can be a bioeconomy clusters with the already existing refinery. Let's think over what can be put together behind this refinery of biodiesel. Can be a petrochemical industry behind, not petro, but biochemical industry. The biochemical industry can go on, and for sure the food security. Eastern Europe is the most well placed to discuss the food and the food security for the future. The food security for the EU, and we have something to say on it. I was not saying almost anything on the society, but I really think, and my examples were showing that the societal aspects is the key. Because today, if you say that we will close some factory based on petrochemical issues, the people will say immediately, no, we lose jobs and growth. But what's important, that if you explain to the society that it's on the longer term, they are winning from it, and we build up based on knowledge and innovation the new system, and bringing up the jobs and growth based on knowledge and innovation, they might understand some of the today decisions which are extremely hard and it's extremely difficult. So we are, in this context, we are together with the Western European part, because also in Western Europe, we are back with the society. We are not, it's not yet ready, the society was not involved in all these discussions, and it's happening today. So we can go in the same foot as the Western Europe. Thank you very much for your attention, and sorry for being so long. I still feel that I was not telling anything or everything what I wanted, but I gave an impression. Thank you very much.